What up, man?
There he is.
How you doing, brother?
I figured I was like, man, this guy must be working super
Man,
hard right now.
dude, I was trying to get out the appointment, but then the clients were asking questions. I was like, but I'm here.
I feel you know what the funny thing is? I was in an appointment too to like 11:45, and I was like, y'all gonna make me late.
Like, I don't care about this no more.
But man, it is good to see you, brother. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I love the coast to coast connection, man. We just out here running. You know, there's all this craziness taking place, and you know, I've seen we have a country right now that's kind of like not sure where to go, not sure what to do. And so to know that somebody like yourself, man, and you know some of the people that we work with, we're being leaders in the community, going down out there and making an impact, and at least trying to bring some positivity, bro. I love what you're doing. Love what I'm seeing from you, man, for sure.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I'm trying to learn how to be like my successors, the Pastor Big Davids and the Robert Kiyosaki's and the Cardones and all those guys I'm watching personal development and learning from them. And I see how they're utilizing social media and they're utilizing Instagram Live and things of that nature. So
Absolutely.
I'm just trying to get into that atmosphere and learn how I can impact people more. And just to tell everybody about how we met, we're both PHP agents. I met Greg at a convention last year. I believe it was Trainers last April. And I just saw you in passing. I saw you talking to my guy, Chris Hart, who's like my hero, right? I saw you talking to him, and I was like, let me go talk to this guy. And I remember I asked you, like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And you just told me, you know, how you work the business and how do you talk to people? How do you recruit? And I was like, hey, man, let's exchange numbers because I feel like I'm going to have to talk to you in the future. And sure enough, a year later, like, we're connected. So, man, it's just good to see you. It's good to see successful young brothers like yourself who are just grinding, who are out here, you know, try to better themselves, better their families, you know, just better their situation. And so I want to kind of do this interview style because I personally want to pick your brain. I see you out there grinding on the East Coast. If some of y'all don't know already, he's out there in Maryland. I mean, he's pretty much taking over the whole Maryland, Virginia, Philly, everywhere on the East Coast. This man is doing big things. So I said, I'm going to pick his brain so I can see how I can get on his level. And so it's kind of going to be interview style. I'll add in my little tidbits, but I just want to hear more of your story, hear about what you're doing. I got some questions, but I guess we can start about what's your background and where you come from.
Man, okay, my background, man. So I am born in Virginia, raised in Maryland. If you know anything about the East Coast and DC, man, everyone there is either in or connected to government or military, right? It's like it's
absolutely.
It's funny too because if you ask somebody what they do for work and they say government, you're like, all right, I'm not asking anything else, right? I'm done. Different stuff. So that's what I grew up around, man. My dad was in the military for 30 years, you know, retired as a chief warrant officer, all that good stuff. So for me, man, on the weekends it was Forrest Gump and Major Payne, right? That was I grew up in, right? So we grew up also competitive, man. I played basketball. That was my first love. I literally mean first love. Like I remember girls asking me like, hey man, all you do is talk, all you do is play basketball. Like, is your girlfriend Spalding? I was like, well, this basketball is gonna give me a scholarship, so leave me alone. So,
got you. That's funny.
I was growing up, man. Got a Division I scholarship to play at St. Francis University. I was there for 4 years, finished school. I end up graduating and I get a phone call, right? And so this phone call, I can remember, it was like, it's probably like, it was late. It was like 11 p.m., something like that. And it's my agent. And my agent says, hey, we got a team that's down in South America and they're looking for somebody. I can remember, I'm like online, like, where they at, right? And it's in Brazil. So I hop on a plane and I'm down in Brazil for 2 years playing pro basketball, right? And man, it was, dude. Environment. And when I say incredible environment, incredible experience, I'm saying good, bad, ugly, everything in between. Like it was the full human experience, right? What I mean by that is you go down there, right? Beautiful beaches, culture, environment, right? You're learning new languages, getting invited to these cookouts, all this stuff. It was amazing. However, on the flip side, right, I also lived in a small rural town in South Brazil, which is not like your, you know, Rio de Janeiro's or your like São Paulo. It's no. It's like, hey, that apartment's got no Wi-Fi, no dry machine. You're walking 45 minutes everywhere. Your coach speaks zero English, and you are thrown in the fire. Go figure it out. I'm like, all right, damn, let's go. So,
That's crazy.
yeah, man, it was a crazy experience, but it built my mindset, man. It showed me how much we do take for granted, and sometimes you don't notice that until you see it, right? I mean, we're on a live Instagram right now. Not even it's not we said video, we're live, which means that we both have internet connection. There's a lot of people in Venezuela and India and all these different countries that don't have internet connection, and it's 2020. That's crazy to me, right?
Wow.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I just started to see things differently. I said, well, when I got back home, maybe I should rethink when I'm driving and that Toyota Prius cuts me off and I get all pissed off. Like at least you know what I'm saying? So that was a developmental period of my time, man. I get back home, I get to the point where my next contract comes in, then it falls through. Then another one comes in, and it falls through, and that's kind of how it goes. And it goes from 4 months to 7 months, and I have no money. I'm living at home with my mom, two college degrees. I'm like, what is going on?
The American dream, right?
Yeah, man, I'm like, this no, man. Like I grew up, and I always wanted to do something big, right? That's playing ball. I wanted to do. I saw my dad retire. He had his uniform on. I always thought, look, there was something big for me. And when I was in that point, I'm like, I gotta get out of it. So I start to work. I'm working at a creative marketing agency. That was about for a year. But in that year, I'm like, this is not it, man. Like, no, there's still more. There's still more. I'm coming to the same office every day, and I'm not loving what I'm doing. I'm waking up every day dreading going to work, right? And I'm like, man, there's gotta be more. And so lo and behold, man, I go out to DC one day. I strike a conversation with a gentleman. He's pretty fiery, pretty passionate. Also young, traveling the world, just had retired his wife and his mom as well. I didn't know who the heck the guy was. We just started chopping it up. Man, we sit down the next day. I find out he's the youngest senior vice president of the fastest growing FMO in the country today, a company that's soon to be $1 billion company. And he was only 28 years old. And I'm like, that feeling you get, like, you start looking at yourself like, what have I done wrong, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, man, you got a lot of growth to do. And it was a challenge for me. It wasn't a hey dude, no, it was a natural challenge. When you see somebody living a life of excellence, it challenges you naturally. It says, hey, I could be doing more, right? Mm-hmm. And so fast forward, that's where I am now, man. And I got started with the company, walked away from my job about 7-8 months in. About a year and a half later, I have an office in Annapolis, Maryland. We're expanding very quickly up and down the East Coast, man, and looking to just take over. And super grateful for the opportunity in the environment and to be able to be around people like you, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I'm like, I need to be taking notes, but I'm like, this is so juicy. I gotta pay attention. Man, so, okay, let me go back just a little bit. I know most people are wondering, especially the guys, but you came back from Brazil not married? Like, how did you pull that off?
Dude, why?
Come on, man. Come on.
I'm not gonna name any names, right? But there was a player that was in the same league as me, right? And so he went to Brazil married. Like he was married in America, went to Brazil, was there for like 3 years. He done messed up, right? So he's there for 3 years, and he ends up going to a game one day, and it's a live broadcast. And so they're broadcasting back in the States too. Some people could plug in, all that stuff. And so as he walks into the gym, the cameraman's like, and I'm not going to say his name, but they're saying, hey, this player and his wife have just arrived to the game. Well, his wife was not. Yeah. So,
oh, my good. Drama. Oh, my goodness. I'm like.
He went home, man. He ended up going back to the U.S., coming back to the U.S. for like 2 years to work everything out. It was, yeah, man. It was interesting.
I'm just saying, look. I never mind giving a compliment. You're a young, attractive, young black man. I'm pretty sure, right, Busted is right. I'm pretty sure there was women all over you. And you're single, right? Are you single?
Yeah, man.
Look, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like a guy like you does not go to Brazil and come back in one piece. I'm sorry.
It was a good time. That's what I'll say. It's an interesting time.
I can say that because you're a youngster, but you know what? You kind of you touched on adversity, But one thing that I like that you touched on is the fact that taking life for granted. And I'm 32 years old. I'm about to be 33 next month. I remember when we didn't have cell phones. I remember the old school dial-up. I remember having to go over to homie's house and knock on the door and be like, hey, yo, is Greg home? Like, can he come play the street life? Like, I remember those days. And I'm not saying that, because I'm an old fart and these youngsters don't appreciate it. But I remember the days where we had to work, where we had to, you know, we didn't have everything at our fingertips. There was no Google. I remember having encyclopedias. I remember going to the library to look up information. So I appreciate that aspect of the hustle a lot more, or finding information, where these kids today, man, they have the whole world at their fingertips. And then you get thrown into an environment when you don't have the whole world at your fingertips. Like, you have to become a different type of person. So what's a good way you can tell some of these new generational guys? Who is this? Is that? Oh my goodness! Look at this guy! Look at my hero! Just kill my train of thought. Everybody, the amazing Chris Hart has blessed my IG. Oh my gosh!
First of all, guys, I'm underdressed, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not making the good money he's making right now. I'm working my way up, getting to you guys' income level, man, so I can get a suit and tie.
Hey, don't let him lie to you. This dude's about to make over $500,000 this year, and he's still one of the coolest guys that I've ever met in my entire life. Don't let this humility trick you. This is one of the greatest men I've ever met. Don't let him lie to you.
Guys, I got introduced to this crazy entry called financial services. A college dropout from Compton, California, and not from anywhere crazy special. I don't have any pedigree, but maybe I tell you what, I got lucky, and this industry is crazy because there's a lot of people in my industry, in my demographic, who need help with money and finances. I'm not trying to hijack your call or anything, man. But if you're on this call right now, man, the nuggets that these guys are dropping right now, take notes. Take notes. You don't see this generation talking about wealth, money, business. You don't see it. And to be quite honest, I don't know who's on the call right now, you don't see people of this skin tone doing this. You don't see a lot of African American men talking about money and finances. I'm doing a Facebook Live in 30 minutes talking about Black wealth in our community. And so with a Nigerian from Florida, African American from Riverside, California, a guy from SoCal, a guy from Northern California. So we're just talking about money and finances. But guys, take notes, man. Listen in. If you're a part of PHP, keep pushing. If you're not a part of PHP yet, listen in, man. DM this guy, because I'm telling you, $500,000 a year is a crazy income to be on a track to make this year. But at the end of the day, man, it's just a byproduct of the people I'm serving. Serve more people, you will make more money in the right vehicle.
God is good. Let's go.
My mom and dad served entire careers. Pastors, evangelists, we served. LA, South Central, with Bullhorn, preaching the gospel, giving out free food. But we struggled financially. And I knew as a young man, at some point in time, I want to serve my community, but how can I do both at the same time, make money for my family and build my legacy? And I found it through this vehicle called life insurance, guys. I know it sounds crazy. So if you get an opportunity to learn from these guys about what we do and how we serve families, and you're someone who has a servant's heart, but you want to serve your community, but in the process, bless your legacy and make money, PHP is everything for you, man. So I'm going to hop in you guys' calls.
No, man.
No, appreciate it. Hey, man, the interview is done. We're going to shut the whole thing down. That's it. You ain't even got to answer my other question. Let's move on to the next question. Let's move on to the next question, because he just answered everything that I was going to ask you. So you're good to go. Man, that's my guy, Chris Hart. His hashtag is sold out servant. And he means that from the top and the bottom of his heart. That's a good brother. Man, again, if I have a question or I got a concern, man, I can call that guy. He's one of the greatest men, you know, in this industry, just in the world. And you just hear his background. You hear where he comes from. He's just a good dude. So follow him on Instagram. He has a good story. He's a great father, amazing husband, great leader. So that guy, man, he's amazing.
Real quick, yeah, his call. So he's doing a call 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Like 1 o'clock our time.
Yeah, 1 p.m. your time. And it's going to be about that, being a better son, better husband, better brother, whatever. So any of the young men out there, or even if you're a woman, listen in, because guess what? You'll get a chance to learn more about how we think. And I mean, that's always good too, right? So yeah,
absolutely. Sure. And I know one of my mentees, Owen, is on here to get him on that. But you guys, man, good information so far. So I'm going to ask you this. Okay. I wrote down, why do you feel like it is important right now to be a business owner, especially as a minority male or just a minority in general? Why do you feel like it's very important to be a business owner? And I'm pretty sure you know what's going on with COVID-19 and furloughs and layoffs and JCPenney filing for bankruptcy, Gap, you know, $36 million in unemployment being filed for. Like, why do you personally feel, being on the East Coast in the industry, why do you feel it's important to be a business owner right now?
I mean, that's the whole reason I became a business owner, was because I wanted to make sure that I always knew where things were coming from when it comes to just financially, right? I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'm not somebody who is big on like chasing money and things like that, right? I'm big on like I'm the experience type of guy, right? Like I'm like, hey, for Christmas, like don't give me nothing, like let's do something, right? Let's do something. And so the challenge is we live in a world that does require fiat to do things. And so when we are void of that, then we're void of experience. I can't go take a trip to China if I don't have money in my pocket. Let's just be honest, right? I can't spend time, and do different things and pay for those experiences without that. And so right now we see a time in our lives where a lot of people don't know what's next. A lot of people are waiting, sitting there saying, hey, you know what? I need help. Help me. Help me. Well, we have a country that allows us to have free enterprise that says, hey, I can go out there and work hard and build a business. And if I do that, I put myself in a position now where all this stuff that's taking place doesn't affect me. And so it's huge, man. It's huge right now. We got people that have kids, man, that don't have any income coming in. That's, you have 3 kids back at home and you're waiting on a $1,200 check. Come on, that's not gonna cut it. And so we are the reflection of the decisions that we've made 5 years ago. And so we're in a position now, we see it. Maybe we weren't prepared. Maybe we were that person that wasn't prepared for it. But I'll tell you right now, we know that in 5 years, the life that we're living then, I don't know if it's going to be a COVID-19 or whatever. I mean, you look 2000, no one could have imagined imagine like a 9/11, right? You look at 2008, 2007, market crashes, now COVID-19. The next 10 years, I can almost guarantee something will happen. I don't know what, but something's going to happen. The question is, what are you doing right now to make sure that you're prepared for that? And that solution is business ownership, right?
Absolutely.
So, I think that's why it's so big, man, because you always know, man, if you do it right, if you build right and you put yourself around the right people and listen, are willing to learn, and take the ego and say, throw that out the window. I want to learn. If you do it that way, you're going to set yourself up to where a lot of these things that take place aren't really affecting you.
Hey, man. How old are you again? Speaking all this knowledge?
25, man. 25.
25 years old. Man, look at that. That's why I love this business. I love the people I meet. But you said something that's very crucial. You said that who we are right now is a result of decisions we made 5 years ago. Now, when I usually tell people I'm preparing for the 10-year-old mark. So the 33-year-old mark is preparing for the 43-year-old mark. So when I work out, when I save money, when I teach my son, when I do anything, when I study my word, when I preach, when I teach and I mentor, I'm building up myself. So at 43, I can go, thank you, 33-year-old mark, and so on and so on. So that's something that I always preach is what you do now isn't for your right now situation. What you do now is going to set you up in 2025 where you're going to be like, whew, thank you, God. I took full advantage of what COVID-19 did. So I'm hoping that if you were on this call or you're on this IG Live, you understand that if you are chilling now, if you are relaxing, if you think this is the opportunity for you to kick your feet up and relax, this is not that opportunity. This is an opportunity for you to set yourself up. So in 5 years, like Greg will be 30, I will be 38. I will be in the best position to capitalize and really build my son's legacy, build my family's legacy. Hopefully I'm married by then. I'm setting myself up now. So I really like that you said that. You said, let's do something. Let's do something now. I think that was very amazing. My next question is, you kind of mentioned this when you were talking about, being in Brazil, but I want another situation where you had to overcome adversity. Because I got people on here, like I said, I mentor and I talk to, or who watch my videos every Monday or hear my speeches, but they know about my adversity. They've heard about the time I got my car repoed. They heard about the time I've got my light turned off. They heard about the time where I used to get called ugly and my teeth used to look like this. Like, they've seen those videos. They've seen when my face had acne and all that stuff. They've heard those stories. But I want to hear a story about when you had to face adversity. I'm talking about when life was just kicking you and you were just like, God, I feel like Job. And I want to know what you did, what book you read, who you talked to, whatever you did to overcome that. I want to hear that.
You sure, man?
No, I'm serious. Because like I said, they've heard my stories. Like, they've heard my stories.
So, when the environment here, when you think about just business ownership, one of the reasons that most businesses fail within the first 4 years is what? Because, shoot, I don't know, you don't have the right people around you. You don't have the right mentorship, the right guidance, right? And so before I was given the right guidance, right, when I took my journey to build a small media business, things of that nature, right, that's just something I like media, visual media. That's why I love the fact that we're on this call. But, you know, when I didn't have the right guidance, I made a decision to say, hey, you know what? I'm working right now. I'm going to start to build a small media business, doing like, you know, Facebook, Instagram, all this different stuff. And then I make a decision to say, hey, I'm going to run with it. And guess what? I ran with it and fell on my face. Fell on my face, meaning like this is all I'm sustaining myself with. Is just me as an entrepreneur, whether it be you know, building a business, even once I, you know, even getting introduced into the financial services industry and not knowing what the heck I'm doing, right? Just figuring things out. I fell on my face. And when I say fell on my face, I'm saying like going to Chipotle. I got Chipotle right here, right now. You know what? I'm blessed. You know why? Because I can remember being in line and checking my dang credit card and like my heart beating and not knowing, not knowing how much actually
sweating.
Yeah. And I'm bro, like, and if it's like full transparency, bro, like I've had times, man, like I done slept in my car, man, and I'm not talking for like a day. I'm not talking like a day. I'm talking like months, bro. Like, so, you know, those times though, man, what they do is they build a different level of mindset for you. What they do is they put you in a position where you know what you can overcome. And so when you're faced with a challenge, it doesn't even like phase you. There's very little that phase me now. And a lot of times people look at me, they're like, what? Like I remember, man, I got into a car accident, right? And car was totaled. It was about 11:59, something like that. It was like midnight, right? I got into a car accident, and next day I'm up for a pregame, 7 a.m. Just like, whatever, let's go. Like, and people are looking at me like, are you okay? I'm like, if I'm alive, and this is the way I think. If I'm alive and I have the ability to build, to work, to talk, then I can make something happen. And I truly feel that way. And so, yeah, man, those tough times, it gives you a different level of confidence too, right? Like you know, man, like you walk in a room, you're just like, I know what I can go through. I know what I'm able to handle that. And so I tell, you know, some of the agents on my team all the time that, like, honestly, I look for obstacles now. I'm like, okay, God, what's next? God, what you got for me, right? Because I know that they're not bad things, right? Matt Sapola says all the time, when you proclaim something big, you plant a flag and you say, hey, I'm going to do something big, all hell will break loose, right? It's so true. And it's so true, man. And so when you go through that, that's the world telling you, that's the enemy telling you that it doesn't want to see you win. And so when I see that stuff, I'm excited. I get excited, man. Like when things happen, oh, you know, fire industry, chargebacks, all this stuff, whatever, right? I'm like, oh, what else? What else can I overcome, man? Because this world is there for the taking, and it's here to build us. But we have to want to be built. We not be afraid of the negative. Not even, I don't even look at it as negative. I remember I was in Brazil. The one thing the nugget I took was a guy who had nothing, literally struggling through everything in life, like just lost his dad, just lost his car, all this stuff. Also in a country where he can't even get to America. And that's his number one goal. He just wants to get to America. We're born here. He wants to just get there and his foot on the soil. And we have American players that come from America, grew up there, come here, and we're complaining because practice was hard.
Right.
And so he goes, you know what, man? He said to one of my teammates, he says, man, I don't really look at bad times. He's like, I look at either good days or character building days, right? And when I heard that hit me to the core. And so that's what I look at it, man. If something happens, man, whatever. Okay, cool. I now know that I can relate to one more person in the world and I can help impact them. Because that story that I just told you, if I never went through that, there's a lot of people that I wouldn't be able to relate to or lead because I hadn't reached the bottom yet. And so those people that are at the bottom, they're gonna say, how are you gonna show me the way out if you've never seen that? And so, yeah, man, I think it does nothing but just it makes you better.
Yeah, and I mean, that was wonderful. Thank you for that example. Like, I've been to slept in the car, slept on couches, slept on the floor. Like, man, the struggle, right? But it reminds me of a quote that I heard Inky Johnson say recently. He said, a lot of times people, like, they go through a situation and they don't want to hear scripture. They don't want to hear, oh, turn to Romans 5:6. They don't want to hear that. You have to literally be a living testimony. You have to be the walking testimony because they're watching. That's something I had to learn when I started using social media more and just being around in my environment at work. I started to learn that people are literally watching what I do. So if I remember the day when somebody told me I cursed. I said something, I was driving and I said a bad word. I'm a bad road rage guy. I hate bad drivers. And I cursed while I was driving. And he looks at me and he's like, I didn't even know you cursed. And I was like, I didn't even know you paid attention that well. You know what I'm saying? Like, he never heard me curse, but it's because I've been working on my cursing. But he's like, I never knew you cursed. And I was like, I didn't know people really paid attention when I cursed or not. Now, I always tell people I have 3 different crowds. Like, I have, like, the bros, my fraternity brothers, they get wild. Then I have, like, my Christian friends where I'm like, oh. And then I have, like, I'm a teacher. So in the classroom, I'm very professional. I don't curse. And then, of course, around my son, I don't curse. But it's like, when I'm around those crowds, I know who to be. But if you get me around the bros, pray for me, right? So I say that because people are always watching and people are always paying attention to what you do. So even when you face that adversity or when you hit rock bottom, whether they know it or not, they can tell when you're up. Like, there's moments when I've been at the office and I'm fighting back tears. Like, I just had the worst day of my life, but I'm there. I can be in training, giving the most fire training, and then right afterwards, I've gone to the bathroom and I cried. And I mean, full tears because something has happened. And people don't know that, but they're always watching. So I'm glad you said that because you're right. The situations you go to, you never know who's watching. But when you go through it, you can give that testimony and be like, look, man, hey, Greg, you're 25. I'm 33. I've been through some things. I'm not saying because I'm older, I'm better than you. I'm just saying I got 8 years of experience over you. And I'm telling you, I've been through it. And guess what? I'm still alive. I'm not eating off the streets. My son is still healthy. Like, you will be fine. So I'm glad that you said that. Now, you touched on something. Was it?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are on that, like the idea of like, because one thing so when it comes to like different like groups of people, right? Mm-hmm. And knowing that, okay, part of just like the art of communication, part of human behavior is understanding how to relate to others, right? What are your thoughts on, because one thing I strive to do is be the same person that I am, like everywhere, right? And the reason why I say that, I had a conversation with somebody who said, a young lady, she said, hey, my mom puts on this dang voice every time. You know that voice, like, hello, right?
Yes.
And so puts on that voice and you know, kind of, but it seemed like it was to a point where she wasn't herself. And so one thing that I've been big on and growing to is getting to the point where like I'm literally me everywhere. And it's almost like I don't give a, right? If you don't like it, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be to the point where I'm like you know, like making people mad and all that stuff, but I'm saying, hey, I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna live my truth no matter what. And guess what? I'm gonna attract the people to me that are here for me and not the person that I am to, like, you know, for others. So what are your thoughts on that? Like the difference between like kind of being able to relate to others versus having that different language with others, if you understand the question.
Absolutely. Now, it's 2 different answers. One, reading a lot of books, which I'm pretty sure you've read a lot of different books as well. One of my favorite books is called Outwitting the Devil. That's one of my favorite books when they talk about how the devil gets a hold of people and how he communicates with people and how you have to really know yourself. I had to really learn how to know myself and learn who I am. The second part that I always give people is me being a believer in Jesus Christ. Jesus had to be everything all the time. And people always go, well, how did Jesus speak to these different people? Because he was Jesus. He had to speak Chinese one day. He had to speak Arabic one day. He had to speak, you know, Swahili one day. He had to appeal. Drifters is a good book too, as well as Caesar. But he had to appeal to every different crowd. You had to appear to who you were talking to, whether they were taxpayers, whether they were servants, whether they were slaves, whether they were, you know, bookkeepers. He always had to appear to those people and bring them to him. So my thing is, I don't want to vomit myself onto other people. I want to figure out, how do I bring people to me? How do I become more attractive? So yes, that might require me to talk very professional and wear a suit. But then I might go in the hood and I might throw in, you know, some jeans, and I might throw in a Kobe jersey, right? Because I want to talk to that audience. If I come in a suit, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, this guy's just a suit. I love wearing suits, but I also like wearing hoop shorts and you know, and tall tees. You know, that used to be my style back in the day. So I've learned that I have to be different people so I can draw people to me. What do I have to do? Again, when I'm with my bros, I can wear a Sigma shirt and some shorts and call it a day. When I'm in the office, I'm wearing a suit. When I'm at school, I'm wearing a polo. I'm wearing these shoes. So even though I'm myself, I want to be attractive to other people, because that's how Jesus was. Jesus had crowds and crowds of people around him, whether he was performing miracles, whether he was feeding 5,000, whether he was telling crazy parables that nobody ever understood. He had found a way to attract people to him. And so when I realized that, and I read books like Drifters and Multipliers and things like that, I learned that I have to bring people to me. And that's what I've learned, that people are attracted to me when I give my speeches and give my trainings, is that I get to be me at the end of the day. Like when I take all these hats off and I take all these uniforms off, like I used to be a police officer. And right now, people don't have the best, you know, mindset and the best feelings about police officers. But when I was in uniform, I was the nicest police officer you'll ever meet. Now I knew how to be firm. I knew how to put those magical handcuffs on. I used to call them the bracelets of truth. I knew how to get down when I needed to. But I would have other officers be like, Cooks, you're just so nice. Cooks, the way you talk to that person, it was just too nice. But I say, but did we get in a fight? Did anybody get shot? Did they go to jail? Yes, because I'm me. But I had to learn how to be myself and get that person to listen to me. And so that's how I would talk to people on the streets. I was like, how can I get you to listen to me without being this firm jerk all the time, or about being this guy who's very demanding? I learned how to attract people to me, and that helped me in law enforcement. That helped me in teaching. That helped me as a father. That helped me as teaching the youth in the ministry. How can I attract people to me? But if you knew me, you would know that. How do I say this a nice way? I'm a beast. Like I'm a gorilla. I don't like people who move slow. I don't like people who talk slow. I don't like people who aren't educated. Like, y'all getting this live exclusive transparency. I'm very like, go, 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 go. Like, give me what I need or get out my way. I'm that person. I can be a jerk sometimes, right? But I've had to learn, like, being a jerk doesn't attract people to you. You can't be a gorilla all the time. You have to learn to pull back and attract people to you. But if you really knew me, you would know that I'm a gorilla. I mean, you either do what I say or get out my way. And I used to say that all the time. Either get with the program or move. So that's kind of how I take it. And I feel like you're a gorilla yourself. Chris talks about you all the time, how you light up the group meets. So I'm pretty sure you're a gorilla as well.
So the thing that I love about this industry and just this business is that, you know, obviously I played sports growing up. And so I always watched, man, the Kobe's, the Jordans, and things like that. And yes. I'm telling you, man, I wanted to be great so bad growing up. However, I realized that, like, for example, right? There's a certain level of work. There's a certain level of obsession, right? That it takes to be great. And when I'm saying great, I'm not saying like, you're the best in your city, no, you're the best in your town, you're the best on your coast. I'm saying like in the world, right? Like somebody like a Kobe, somebody like a Patrick McDavid, right? These people that are like industry movers have to have a certain level of obsession. And so growing up basketball, I would always think to myself, like, do I give as much to basketball as somebody like a Kobe Bryant, right? That's what I used to think to myself. In the back of my mind, yes. I always knew the answer was no. But I was like, kind of like, I knew that. I'm just going to be real. Like, let's be real. How many of us growing up that played ball put the same amount of work into basketball that Kobe did? Because we think, oh, well, he's from Italy. This is this. His dad was NBA. Okay, great. That being said, if he had all of this, shouldn't you be working even harder? You're not putting the work in that that man is. And so that was a decision for me that I made when I got back from playing that second year, when I realized I look at myself, I look at my life, and I said, wow, I gave 20 years of my life to basketball. Did I give 20 years of Kobe Bryant-like effort to basketball? And I thought about it. I said, if I did, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now. I'd probably be a little bit farther ahead. Because, I mean, think about it. Playing pro ball, I'm sorry, man. Give me one. No, we're good. So playing pro ball where I was, guess what? That was like really good for a lot of people that I grew up with and just people in general. You play pro ball, you're overseas. That wasn't good enough for me. And I'm being real. And so because it wasn't good enough for me, I had to look at myself and say, hey, what am I doing to make it better? And if I realize I'm not willing to give that type of work to it, I have to leave it. And so I left it. And I got introduced to an environment here where there's people challenging me every day to grow and get better. I can, like, in all honesty, bro, I can say with a shadow of a doubt that I can say it in full, like, conviction that I give Kobe Bryant-like effort to this business. And that's why I know without the shadow of a doubt where I'm going. Like, I said, like, bro, there's nothing, Chris says all the time, there's nothing new under the sun. I am freaking obsessed with being great in this business because guess what? I have a freaking young lady yesterday. First check just made $1,800. First check, bro.
Let's go.
About that. And so I give everything to this business, man, because you're going to put people in a position, man, where they're working at places that they don't love. The society's made them feel as though you must do this to survive. No, you don't have to. And so you're able to meet somebody and put them in a position where they can unlock those fears in their minds and say, hey, just make a phone call.
That's it. Oh,
that's one. That's just a small, this is just a freaking small fear. Okay, next one. Hey, go talk to that person. All right, cool. Boom. Another thing unlocked, right? Okay, cool. Hey, do this training in front of 20 people. Another one. And you just freaking level up from there and you get to the point where you're freaking breaking barriers and now 5 years later you're training in front of thousands of people and you're on stage talking you never thought you had that. That to me, I will freaking put every hour into that type of environment, man.
Man, and you know what? I always say if I ever had to compare myself to any athlete, Kobe Bryant, but the way you just put it now, yeah, I'm not giving Kobe effort, and it's not that I'm not going hard, because I would say from February till now, my mindset has definitely shifted. But I can honestly say before February, I wasn't giving Kobe effort, and then he passed away in February, and I think that's what clicked for me. It was like, damn, if Kobe's not here forever, we no longer get those stories. We no longer get that Mamba mentality. Like, I got to step it up because tomorrow is not promised. He's only, 40, 41 years old, 42. And it's like when you have that mentality, that obsessed mentality, you are unstoppable. You're unbeatable. So I am so grateful that you pointed that out. And the fact that you had a new girl on her first check make $1,800. Some people can work 100 hours. I used to work for Enterprise, right? In 100 hours, like 50 hours one week, 50 hours, another week. 100 hours, I'd only make $1,300 to $1,400. And I'm talking about slaving. Like, I'm talking Bojangles, shucking and jiving for these customers. I'm talking about getting yelled at and getting told my degree doesn't mean anything from Michigan. I'm talking about getting trashed. And then my managers are like, get those numbers up, sell this, sell that. And I barely made $1,300. And you're telling me as a new agent, I can come in and make $1,800 part-time? Come on, man. That's the business. That's why business ownership is important. And if you're watching this and you're not a PHP agent and you're curious about it, look, I'll just tell you this. Look, he's on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. I don't want to stand under his people, and I'm pretty sure we'll just say Dallas is the splitting line, right? So you hit him up for that, and you hit me up for the West Coast. But this industry is where it's at. And even if you don't want to be a part of PHP, just understand what this man is telling you guys. Owning your own business, owning your money, and owning how much work you put in equals how much money you get out. That's very important because you can work for that hourly wage, but when you serve others, you can make $1,800 just like this. So I'm hoping you guys heard that. I see that you work for Enterprise as well. Yes, Enterprise was slave work. I want to address something that you mentioned earlier about social media. I always tell people I wasn't a big social media guy until maybe like 2016, 2017. And I got some friends who are in LinkedIn, who work for LinkedIn. I got friends who do well at Instagram and Facebook. But I want to know what you've done, because it seems like social media has worked for you as far as branding, recruiting, bringing people into the business. So just in PHP or as a whole, how do you use social media to really recruit, or how do you use social media to really brand yourself? What are some tools, like just 3 quick tools you can tell people to be like, look, if you want to, grow your brand, grow your market, be more attractive, like I talked about before, just give people like real concrete things that they can do that's helped you build your business, build yourself, and build your brand.
Man, so it's crazy, man. I want to address, before I answer too. So it was a video that I saw by Patrick, and he said it was a webinar, his new book, right? And he said, I have a corporation, a business, and I'm recruiting all the time. And it's like, okay, yeah. He's like, I'm recruiting new executives. If our company's looking to expand to Europe or Canada, we're recruiting executives, right? I remember I got started in this industry, that word scared the living daylights out of me. But then I realized if I'm Coach K, right? I put a video up on the idea of sales, right? If I'm Coach K, the only reason that Duke is a powerhouse is because the second the season's over, what do? I get on the road and I go to recruit. And guess what? I'm sitting in parents' house. Hey, Duke is this, and I'm recruiting. So to answer your question, yes, social media has been huge, but it's really been a testament to that guy, Chris Hart, for sure. Because, he has a brand that he's built, man. And that's why mentorship is so big. That's why being on the right people is so big. Because you can learn. I once heard the quote, right? They say, to learn from your own mistakes is smart. No, a smart man learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others, right?
Amen.
That's why these freaking books are so big, because you have somebody else's mistakes that you can learn from, right? And so I learned from him. But yeah, social media, man, has just been about activity, man. Just, Gary Vee says all the time, just like put it out there, man. I think too often people are just afraid to be themselves on social media. So then guess what? You don't attract who you are, because you're not yourself, right? You want to attract who you are yourself, and you'll meet people that are just like you. But if you put this mask on his head, guess what? You'll meet a lot of masked people. Then you're gonna look at them and say, you're gonna be like that Spider-Man thing, looking at it, right? Like, why you got a mask on? And they're like, why you got a mask on? I'm like, well, got it, right? And so just being yourself. I was afraid to tell my stories of my struggles and stuff like that. And guess what? I attracted a lot of people that didn't go through struggles, and so they were not as deep as the people that have been through struggles. So just being yourself, man, and posting activity, things like that. Because at the end of the day, I truly believe that most people in our society, especially in the United States, unfortunately aren't doing what they love. I'm just being honest.
Yes.
And I said because would I drive 45 minutes to go into, like you were talking about, like Enterprise or wherever, right? 45 minutes through traffic into, I don't know, wherever, Google, Accenture, whatever, any company. Would I go 45 minutes through traffic to that employer's job, the office, whatever, if I didn't get a dime? If there's no salary there, would I drive through traffic every single day, 8 in the morning, 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5? If the answer is yes, then you love what you do. Keep doing it. If the answer is no, get the freak up out of there now, because you're living a life that you don't love. I'm so serious about that. Like, I would man, I could go on for days about that, man, because we're put in a world where everyone's just doing things because they feel like they have to, or society said, hey, get a degree, go get a job, and then that's going to be where you're going to be until you're 65. And then at 65, you can retire and you have 10 years to travel before you get sick. Because how do we all eat, right? No one's really eating that well, right? So we know that, there's things that happen later in life, but what if I could say, hey, let me give myself 5 to 10 years of insane just grind. And I look up And now I have a whole 45, 55, 70 years to live where I can do whatever I want to do. And so, yeah, man, that environment, I want more people to be a part of because that's why my team, my name, the LLC I'm developing is Evolution. This business to me, as much as it is about money, this business is not about money. Like, I'm going to make a lot of money because I know I work hard. So I don't care about that. This business is about the mindset that has been developed in you, the mindset that I've seen myself even grow in. I want more people to be involved in that because that's where fulfillment lies. Right? Fulfillment lies in knowing that you're growing. I mean, that the definition of life is literally the ability to grow and change. So if you're not, that's why you're not growing, you're dying. And so if you're in an environment that doesn't challenge you to grow, get out. Like that.
Yes.
So.
Yes, and man, you said so many nuggets. I'm hoping everybody caught that. And I always tell people I never really talk down on enterprise, but that's exactly why I came back to PHP, because a lot of people don't know I was in PHP when Chris Hart was like barely an FA, right? So we're talking 2014, 2015. Yeah, I don't know if he's ever told you this story. Every time he's on a call with me, he always tells me this story. He tells everybody, well, I remember when Mark was brand new, right? But yes, I remember Chris Hart was like a rookie, right? It was me, Chris, and C4. Like we were all starting together, right? But because my heart was in law enforcement, I ended up moving away from the Riverside office where we were all at. And you got to remember, if you knew the Riverside office back then, we were young, black, and we were fiery. Like our BOM, our competitions were hot fire. This is young Lynn Cooper. Like we were a fire office, right? So part of me sad that I left and I pursued law enforcement. But when I lost law enforcement and started working with Enterprise, I felt the same way. I was going to Enterprise, working from 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., picking up my son, barely having enough time to spend time with him, getting him dinner, giving him a bath, and boom, and it was bedtime. And I felt like I plateaued. I was like, I'm not growing. I'm not learning. I'm literally just getting a check. So when I came back, when I sat down with Lynn Cooper in 2018, I remember going in his office, and I remember crying. I'm a big crier. You guys haven't figured that out yet. I remember crying in his office, saying, Lynn, I got $10 in my account right now. I work 50 hours a week while trying to take care of my son. I'm barely making bills. My lights have been cut off twice. I got $10 to my name. This is 2018. He said, Mark, come back to the business. There's a guy like Chris Hart and Curtis and all these people who are doing very successful. I had to understand that I am not the best version of myself. And it's okay that I failed, but I can't get back up. It's like Les Brown always says. He says, if you fall down, tone your back so you can always get back up, so you can see up. And I was at a point where I was just like, Lynn, what do? I can't even afford to buy food for myself and my son. He said, get in the business. It will change your life. And I'm so glad I made that decision. But you made that point very clear for anybody that's watching this, whether you're 15, 18, 28, 38, 48, 68. If you don't like your current situation, you can do something about it. I'm hoping you guys caught that, because you never just want to be somewhere and feel stuck. Like, I didn't like working at Enterprise. I didn't like having any other job. I don't like bosses. I don't like bosses. I don't like somebody telling me what to do, and I feel like I'm doing a great job and I'm working hard. I'm only getting paid $10, and they go, no, you didn't do that right. Ooh, I can't stand that. So in PHP or in any business that you own, you work hard, you serve others. Like he said, the money will come. But when you work hard, you serve others, it's just gratifying waking up and like, let's go. Like this morning, I had a 7 o'clock call with this girl this morning, and I was just like, she better answer because I'm fired up and I'm ready to go, right? But she didn't answer. But like you said, I ain't care. I was ready to go. I was like, well, I'm up. Let me send some messages. But the point that I want you guys to really catch is, if you don't like your current situation, do something about it. It's that simple. It's that simple. And you have platforms like this. You have social media. You have Facebook. You have Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn. You have every opportunity to do something about it. Do something about it. And if you're looking for mentors, I have some great mentors. Greg has some great mentors. We can be some mentor. It doesn't matter. We're here to help you out. So
I'm gonna go because my mentor has a call that
I know.
I would say check it out, Dr. Lynn, all them. Last thing I'm gonna leave you with is this. And this is something for me that changed my perspective a lot. If anyone is on this call and they like what we're talking about, great. If they don't, great. My thing is this. I'm at the point now where I don't need, like, even if somebody doesn't want to be a part of what we do with PHP Agency, that's okay. I remember a year ago, I met a guy. He came out to the office. He checked out what we were doing. He left. He never got started. I meet him a year later. We're out in DC. He says, "Hey, bro, I've been watching your videos. I know, man, PHP just wasn't my thing. However, because of going there, it got me thinking. And I was working somewhere that I freaking hated, and I quit. Now I'm a physical therapist. I do personal training, and I love what I do. Great. Freak that. If you have a conversation with me and you don't love what you do, you're either gonna get started here or you're gonna go change and do something else. But my legacy that I want to leave is that when you meet me, I make you think about, are you doing what you're passionate about? And if not, go change it. And that's it, man. But hey, I want to get to this call, bro.
Hey, I'm gonna get on it too. But thank you. We're gonna do this again. All right, brother?
Oh, absolutely, man. Hey, I appreciate it, man. Like, if anybody here is following me, go follow this man, Black Superman _ AMC. That's fire, man. I'm not the most creative, man. I love that.
It's all good. Hey, it was good talking to you. Hey, we'll do this again. Thank you so much, brother.
Let's do it.
Everybody, all right, cool. If you want to stay on, I'm gonna close this out real quick. Thank you guys for being on the call. It was wonderful that you guys got to hear that. If you came in early, came in late, I'm hoping you guys got some nuggets from that. Thank you, Britt. Like, I'm gonna do this more. I'm gonna find more people who we can talk to, and they don't have to be, like I said, I'm probably not gonna get Eric Thomas, or I'm gonna try to get Pastor Big David. I'm gonna work up to that level, but I'm gonna get people who I personally feel will drop nuggets for you guys, who will give you guys good information. I personally am a student of the game, so I'm just hoping that you guys got nuggets from it. We're going to do it again. I will post the call that he's going to be on. I'm about to get on that call too. I believe it was on Instagram and Facebook. I will post a flyer for it. It's a Zoom call, so just go on Zoom, get the code, hop on the call, learn from some Black men about fatherhood, being a husband, all that stuff. It's going to be a great call. Even if you're a woman, like he said, hop on the call. But thank you all for being on. I'm hoping you guys got some nuggets. I'll try to get another guest on next week. And until then, hey, look, I always tell people, get better at being yourself every day. MC Inspires means that I want to inspire you to be a better version of yourself. No matter what happens, no matter what you do, just know that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Everybody knows Philippians 4:13. It's time for us to live it. No matter what you do, no matter what you go through, no matter ups or downs, Christ has your back. Be inspired to be the best version of yourself. And the AMC stands for Agape Master Crusaders. That means always lead with love, master your craft, and the crusade is to always serve others beyond your own personal responsibility. You guys have a great Thursday. I will see some of y'all on the call. I will post it. God bless. Hey, let's go out and be phenomenal. Black Superman, MC Inspires, gang, gang.